Oh dear, we have got some spicy takes about Palworld, I see. I will never play Palworld. It doesn't look appealing to me. I don't have anything against it, but it does bug me as an artist how blatantly plagiarizing some of those designs are. And people go, oh, well, it's not... It's not a case of, oh, well, it's perfectly legal, you know. Nintendo won't sue them. They can't. They don't have any grounds to it, so it's perfectly fine. I can still be bothered by how blatant it is. It still feels gross. Like I was commenting on Know Your Meme about it because it was a big topic of discussion on there, and somebody said, you know, not everything has to be completely original, right? And I'm like, I'm a creator myself. Yes, I do know that, actually. Like, oh, I'm sure no one has ever drawn a pretty dragoness wearing thigh highs before. Yes, I'm the first person to ever think of that. I came up with all of my art knowledge myself. I didn't look at any tips or any tutorials ever. You know, I was definitely not strongly influenced by some things I like in the way I draw things. Of course you need... but yeah. It just bugs me on principle that so many pals are blatantly 2 or 3 Pokemon mashed together. Like, I really like that I think it's called Lee's Punk. Even though it's blatantly the same concept as Scrafty with Toxtricity's colour scheme. Blatantly. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot. Of course you play Ark, so of course you like it. Yeah. No, that's fair enough then. Yeah, if the game's fun, then the game's fun. It just bugs me how it's blatantly, you know, that very Newgrounds in a Newgrounds brackets derogatory. Oh, what if Pokemon was really adult and violent? How their Salazzle, oh my goodness, you thought actual Salazzle was horny. Good grief. And it is blatantly Salazzle is the thing. It's just different colours and has slightly different details. Oh yeah, that's very true, Blue. That's one of the reasons why it bugs me so much. I forgot actually, because they don't match the art style at all. The world is pretty realistic, but then the Pokepals are they're just Pokemon. They have the same art style as Pokemon. So when they when they cheerfully recycle design elements from specific Pokemon, then it's really obvious because they're intentionally making them look the same. So they clearly want to be compared to Pokemon, and in some ways, you know, it's a really inspiring success story where they didn't really know how to program at all, and it just sort of magically came together. Meanwhile, you know, so they're embarrassing Game Freak and the Pokemon Company by doing that. And then the game becomes super popular and everyone's talking about it. But some of it just rubs me the wrong way. That blue ferret. Yeah. I like the ferret. Chillet or whatever it's called. Although, again, it is clearly blatantly inspired by Furret. It's just a different colour. It's Furret but ice type. It's a lowland Furret. Oh yeah, and well, the AI controversy is a different thing for Palworld because I don't think there was any AI used in Palworld, probably because the original trailer came out in 2021, and like what AI tools were around then, like that Nokemon thing, I think, which would make abominations which vaguely resemble Pokemon. But with Palworld, it's definitely a lot more intentional. There's too much intent behind the recycling for me to blame it on AI, I think. But then the dev was like they made a Mogus-like, a sus-like, which was about sussing out which image was AI generated or something. I never really looked into what the actual gameplay was, but it used AI art in some way. What actually bugs me about their practices is that, what was their previous game? I think it was Craftopia that they basically abandoned it in early access, and they've just moved on to Palworld because that's their golden goose now. It doesn't reflect well on them for basically abandoning that game. Centaur Sewer Legend, Centaur Armor Rouge. That barely scratches the surface. Let's be honest. I mean, mean, you boot up the game and the first thing you see is Jiggly Meowth and Discount Wooloo. They're two of the most blatant ones, and they're the first ones you see. Maybe that's the point. Yeah, but that's the thing, though. It's not really a Pokemon clone in a traditional sense. Like, those are all, you know, they mimic the gameplay of Pokemon with a similar art style. But it's, Palworld, yeah. It's Breath of the Wild crossed with Ark. And it's just the monster designs and the art style they're in, which is actually Pokemon-like. Otherwise, I mean, what even is Pokemon-like about it? The fact that they have trainers, but that's in Ark as well. And the fact that you catch them in spheres, yes. Have you seen the worst one? It's literally just Cinderace. I might have done. That does sound familiar. And many others. Even the ones that do look good, like Lavender and Leespunk, they are clearly ripped off from Pokemon. And it's just an inescapable truth. Like, you can't look at all of them and tell me that they're all a coincidence. Quivern. Oh yeah, that one. Yeah. Which is basically a cross between Dragonite and Reshiram. They took Reshiram's general body shape and a lot of its design elements and then stuck Dragonite's vibes on top of it, basically. So it's a nice design. It's just obviously derivative. And like, that's another one where I wouldn't say, oh, that's clearly, but unless the general trend didn't clearly indicate that they are ripping off Pokemon with so many of them. Whatever, if it's legal, then it's legal, and I'll just have a distaste for it rather than, you know, it's wrong on a moral level, if anything.